Welcome to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo. Brought to you by Coastal Appliances, Island Automotive, Somerset Mortgage, The Emerald Princess, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Apple Care Immediate Care, Misty's Element Massage, Jenkins Nissan, and by Loco's Grill and Pub. Now here's the voice of the Glynn Academy Red Terrors, Kevin Price.
Welcome to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kevin Price on location at Loco's Grill and Pub. We will be here each and every Sunday night at 6:30 for the entire season. This segment of the Rocky Hidalgo Show is sponsored by Island Automotive, Coastal Appliances, The Emerald Princess, Somerset Mortgage, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Apple Care Immediate Care, Misty's Element Massage, Jenkins Nissan, and Locos. And now with us, the head ball coach of the Glynn Academy Red Terrors, Coach Rocky Hidalgo. And Coach, obviously we got a good crowd here. Cheerleaders are leading the impromptu cheers that we're having, and of course you're 1-0 as the head ball coach of the Glynn Academy Red Terrors, as Glynn won its season opener 40-20 this past Friday night over Wayne County. So, Coach, first of all, congratulations on the victory, and I assume the weekend had to be at least a little more relaxing for you coming off the big win.
It was good to win the game. I can honestly tell you I was a little embarrassed some of the mistakes we made, but it's a process, and it's always good to get a win and get 1-9 locked up, as they say. So we'll move on to game 2 and go work our tails off this week.
Well, no doubt about it. Obviously, a big game coming up this Friday night against the crosstown rival Brunswick. We'll talk about that here going forward. But first, let's go back to the season opener, of course, against Wayne County, and get your thoughts on that. The game started very slow from the Red Terror standpoint. Fumbled to opening kickoff, also fumbled on your first drive. You were able to get a defensive stop after the fumble on the kickoff, but then the second time Wayne scored. And then you also allowed a long touchdown where maybe you had some missed tackles and so forth. But you're in a hole to start a football game. But you got to be proud of the way the kids kept battling, kept fighting. It would have been easy to just lay down maybe at that point.
Yeah, it went exactly as we scripted it at the beginning. No, it was about 7 minutes into the game, I wanted to dig a hole and crawl in it. But I didn't. I elected not to. The kids did a great job of kind of fighting through. It's one of the things we've been working on. We wanted to, we preached to them about battling through adversity. When something bad happens, we have to keep fighting. I think they did a good job. I think our coaches did a great job of keeping our head above water and just kind of kept coaching and kept positive, and eventually the game turned around for us.
And you were down 14-3, and I think maybe the turning point of the game, not necessarily the play of the game, I think we all know what that was, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But the turning point of that game was the safety, which made it 14-5, because then you turn right around, get a touchdown, get a stop, get another touchdown, and go into the half with the lead. Obviously a total contrast between the first quarter and the second quarter, but the game really turned from that safety.
Yeah, I felt throughout the game, even with all that bad stuff was going on, if we could stop shooting ourselves in the foot, I felt we had a chance to get back in and win the game. I knew we'd be able to move the ball offensively. Defensively, I felt like we were doing a lot of good things. We had the long play where we missed some tackles there. Disappointing that we gave up that touchdown, but I didn't feel like they could drive the ball on us. So I knew if something good happened to us, and really we were looking for something in special teams, whether we should fake a kick or something along those lines. It just worked out that we got the snap and on the punt, and it kind of is what it is, and that turned the game around.
And Coach, this is the Rocky Hidalgo Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network, and no doubt the play of the game, though, was the 4th-and-1 call right before the half in the final seconds. You go to a little trickery there. I'm sure that's something y'all worked on, maybe going all the way back to spring practice, but certainly throughout the summer and maybe this week. First of all, just talk about the play and then describe your thought process and saying, let's pull this out of the bag right here and go for it.
Well, we knew that with time dwindling down, we wanted to try to go for the throat there a little bit. We kind of had them on the ropes. We climbed back in the game. I was on the phone with Coach Jackson, and, I said, go for it. And he goes, you want to go for the throat? And I was like, why not? And it's something we had worked on all week long. As our Wayne County play is what we call it, Wayne County. And Poppy did a great job, threw a great ball, and just the dice fell the correct way, and we ended up a winner on that one.
Now, you called it the Wayne County play. Was this something you drew up especially for them, or was this something y'all had in the bag of tricks all along?
Coach Jackson names all his plays, and this was Wayne County is what we called it. And I think what's good about doing that, it's easy for the kids to remember, and we worked on it for the past 2 weeks. It was something that he had seen on tape, and that's when you go out and watch some video, things kind of work out for you, and that's what the way it worked.
And the way I kind of thought about it, you had gotten back in the game. You really had nothing to lose at that standpoint. Was this possibly a situation where, hey, I'm a new coach, I've got a chance to, give the kids something exciting to do here? If it works, great. Obviously, it worked as great as it could. It went for a touchdown. But if it don't, no big deal. But let's have a little fun here.
No, it was one of those things where we just, really we wanted to go for all of it. Time dwindling down, we want to go for all of it. And that's what the play Sean dialed up. He looked at me and said, what do you think about it? And I said, why not? So it's kind of is what it is. It's fun coaching like that when you go out there, that with no risk, there's no reward. And it was a big reward play because I think that was the dagger in their heart and really put us on the road to victory that night.
No doubt about it. And, Coach, just some of the mistakes that were being made early. I thought it maybe was a situation where maybe some of the kids were just trying too hard. I know sometimes in the first game of the season, kids really want to go out and not only impress you, but impress all the people in the stands, and you got to kind of get your emotions in check and at some point settle down and play football. But there's some of that going on, some of those early fumbles and so forth.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case. We're working on ball security. I think a lot of the things, we have a lot of things we're trying to correct in the program, and it just is what ball security is being one of them. You'll hear our coaches talk about ball in jeopardy at practice all the time. One of the things we're really working on is harping on ball security, squeeze that ball tight, cover up in traffic. And we're just learning how to do those things. It's not a habit yet. So I think that's probably those first two plays. Adrian's was definitely, he was just trying to make some stuff happen. But it needs to be second nature to our kids when they get in contact to squeeze that ball and put another hand on it. And it's not yet, and until it does, we'll probably continue to put balls on the ground.
Now, you mentioned here last week that one of the keys to the game would be how your team would perform up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And I really thought all game your defensive line, I know you probably saw some things on film that you didn't like, but just in general, I thought your defensive line did a really, really great job. And then once the offense settled down and got in rhythm, I thought your offensive front really asserted itself in the game.
Yeah, I think our defensive line played really well except for the one drive where they had the two long runs. I think we probably got a little lazy, a little complacent. We'd gotten up, and maybe some of our players, and probably in general our team, we felt like that game was over at that point. We're still battling through how to play consistently for 4 quarters. Our offensive line played really well in the second and third quarters. We really came off the ball. It was the best I'd seen us come off the ball. In the first quarter, it was okay. In the fourth quarter, not so much. So we want to start fast and finish strong. And I think we didn't start real fast and we didn't finish strong. So those are two big things we need to correct. Second and third quarters were real good up front, but the first and fourth left a lot to be desired.
All right. Well, we'll continue to break down the Wayne County game and look forward to the Brunswick game next week. So there's more to come here on the Rocky Hidalgo Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Right now, these words from our sponsors.
For all of your automotive repair needs, visit Island Automotive, 1950 Demery Road, across from the fire station on St. Simon's Island. They're a family-owned and operated business that has been delivering great service not only to St. Simon's, but to all of Southeast Georgia for over 25 years. Your complete auto repair and auto detailing facility. Online at islandautomotivecenter.com or at 912-638-0888. And go Terrors! Coastal Appliances is your one-stop shop for Whirlpool washers and dryers, Whirlpool refrigerators, and so much more. Coastal Appliances offers free delivery and service after installation and have also been in business for over 30 years. 4727 Altama, next to Sonic, and on the web at appliancesbrunswickga.com, or give them a call at 912-267-0132. Coastal Appliances, Glynn County's only specialty appliance store.
Hop aboard for Texas Hold'em tournaments, roulette, poker, lots of slot action, food, music, and more. Labor Day weekend, Sunday, August 31st, 7 p.m. Cruises depart from Brunswick, Georgia. Call 800-842-0115 or visit EmeraldPrincessCasino.com. Must be 18 years of age and present a government-issued photo ID to board.
I'm Jenkins Nissan.
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 I am Jenkins Nissan.
I'm Donnie Jenkins. We're all Jenkins Nissan, and together we want to show you just how easy buying and servicing your car should be. So please, stop by and experience the Jenkins Nissan difference. Look for the red and white Nissan tent at the corner of Chapel Crossing Road and the Spur, or visit us online at jenkinsnissanofbrunswick.com.
Welcome back to the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kevin Price on location from Loco's Grill and Pub on St. Simons. This segment brought to you by Island Automotive, Coastal Appliances, the Emerald Princess, and Jenkins Nissan. And Coach, let's continue to talk a little bit more about last week's game against Wayne County. Of course, the Red Terrors won 40-20 after falling behind. But let's talk about, I guess, to start on the offense and talk about Zach Lampert's play at quarterback. You kind of mentioned during the break some good and bad, and I thought maybe overall he handled himself, but I'm sure there's plenty of things you saw on film that you can sit him down and point him in the right direction and just make him better from week 1 to 2.
You know, a lot of it is Zach, a lot of our kids just need to play. I mean, I think if you look at what we did, what Glynn Academy did in the past and what we're doing now offensively, they're two very different offenses, and it's something you don't just get good at that overnight. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes game reps, and I think you see that with Zach. I think Zach did a lot of good things. Zach makes plays. He's a football player. He really is. He's a very good football player. But we're trying to get some consistency with him just in terms of the reads and throwing the football. And that stuff will come each week. He'll continue to get better as he plays in the offense. It's not like he's been doing it for 4 years. It's a very different offense from what they've done in the past. But I was pleased that he drove a couple of balls in there late. He kind of settled in there. We had some issues with snaps between the quarterback and center. Anytime you have those things, it throws the rhythm off. And, a couple other things we had some issues with is the back didn't get out of his way in protection. He ended up in his lap. So he couldn't really step up and throw the ball. So those are just some of the little bitty things that we've got to work on as a football team. There's so many things that we're still trying to correct. And every week, hopefully, we'll see this progression with the team as we get better at one or two things each week. We'll continue to improve. And I think a lot of those things, that the protection improves, as the backs play improve. I think Zach's play will improve just because those guys around him make it easier for him. It's hard to throw the ball when a guy's standing in your lap. And we had some of those breakdowns on Friday night, and hopefully we'll get them corrected this week.
Now, you mentioned going into the preseason that the offensive line had the biggest learning curve, and I know you talked about them playing good in both the second and third quarters, not so much at the start of the game and then at the end. But just talk overall about your impressions of the way the front played.
Yeah, it was good. We got Isaac Reyes back. Isaac had been injured with a knee injury, so he came back, and Cameron Tresvant did some good things playing for him last week and in the first half of the game. But I think Kyle Larson is a kid that really came off the ball well. He came off the ball, did a lot of good things. Mike Williams, our center, did a good job. Frank Farrell did some good things at tackle for us. So I think you'll continue to see. Marcus Maxwell's a kid that I talked about last week. He's a sophomore. He's just this big baby out there. He doesn't know what he's doing yet, but he's got a chance to be a great player. He's such a young pup. And every week those guys will continue to get better. We didn't, up until a week ago, we didn't have an offensive line shoot at Glynn Academy. It just came in, and we had some dads come up and put it together on a Saturday so we could use it. And things like that are important, and I think you saw from the scrimmage game to the first game of the season, our improvement on the offensive line are a direct result of having a piece of equipment that we didn't have before, and enabled us to really improve on the offensive line. So hopefully we'll continue to make strides there and play even better this week.
All right, you're listening to the Rocky Hidalgo Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. And, Coach, Garrison Hurd, I guess, left the game at some point in the second half, I know early on, and when you kind of took control of the game and we still didn't see him, I figured something must be going on, but it was leg cramps, I suppose, but I guess that means he'll be okay this week.
Yeah, he'll be fine, and again, there's so many things that, I take for granted. One of the things our kids have got to learn is how to properly hydrate themselves, not just the day of the game, days before the game, and some of the stuff that, we're trying to implement with our program is just having proper hydration on site so the kids have plenty of stuff to drink there. And I mean, so many things we take for granted, but that's incredibly important when you're playing in environments like we played on Friday night. And so this week we're gonna do a better job of making sure on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that we've got some Gatorade in the locker room for kids to drink. So hopefully guys like Garrison, and we had very little cramping issues. I think that speaks volumes to our conditioning. I think we're a pretty well-conditioned team because of what we did this summer and how we practiced. But there's no substitute for hydration, and so we're working on that stuff. And we ordered some things. Hopefully, be in this week for the Brunswick game that'll help us with that hydration and keep our electrolytes up and avoid cramps.
And you hit on something I wanted to ask you about your overall conditioning, so we'll just move forward. I think you answered that question, but we've talked a lot about the offense, but let's talk a little bit more about the defense before we move forward and talk about Brunswick. But I really thought the defense did a good job all night against the run and kind of really took that away from Wayne. But obviously early in the game, he had some missed tackles, which led to that touchdown. But I thought you really did a good job of addressing that issue in the second half.
Yeah, it's as a coach, I think we played hard on defense. Our pad level was better this week, and we have to continue to improve our pad level. We always want to talk about fit and finishes, and I probably mentioned that last week. We messed up some fits on the football, on the couple of runs they had, and the long pass on the bubble. We had somebody that, he's got to get outside the play. Our safety didn't quite get back over the top, and we ended up with 3 guys trailing the play, and which leads to, when you don't fit on the ball well, it leads to big plays. One of the things that was obvious to me is how much we've got to improve in the weight room. Tackling, being physical is about being strong, and our kids have got to get stronger in the weight room. I saw that Friday night. We've got to get stronger as a football team. We have individuals that are very strong kids, but as a whole, we don't take people to the ground because our strength training isn't where it needs to be. So that's one of the things that I noticed with our kids. All in all, I think we played really, really hard on defense. I think there's a ton of upside with us defensively, and as the kids begin to learn what they need to do, and I talk to the kids about straining. We're still learning how to strain when we play. Our kids don't know how to do that yet. And there's a way to play football. Anybody can go out there and play hard, but the great teams go out and on every single play they strain when they're running around out there playing ball. We haven't learned how to do that yet as a unit on both sides of the football. So that's something that I think will come over the course of the season. I think we've got a tremendous upside on the defensive side of the ball.
And just to throw out a few names, were there any particular kids that you were especially pleased with, or any surprises?
Well, I think as a whole, I think Adrian Cross played like a big-time football player on both sides of the football. Did a great job out there. He really did. I think if you look at our defensive line, Anthony Washington, Dexter Roberson, and Cordero Stewart, I think they did a really nice job of getting in there and playing down the line of scrimmage and being disruptive all night long. I think our corners did a couple of things early. We kind of peaked on the football on some vertical routes, and guys got behind us, but I think we settled in and did a nice job of kind of containing those guys and limiting everything. We want to limit things, big plays. We don't want to give them anything down the field. And we talked to our kids about running to cover, and I think our kids really relaxed and ran to the football and ran on the vertical routes late in the game. But, I think our linebackers did some good things on Chris McCormick and Kendall Cross, who also played for Garrison. Preston Joseph, who came in the game, played the entire second half at weak side linebacker, did a nice job for a guy who came off the bench for us, and that was good. We had a lot of young kids. We played a lot of young kids in the game because we knew it was going to be hot. We knew it was going to be, we knew we were going to play a lot of plays because of what we do on offense. So, we started subbing kids in there. And one of the things you saw is we had a lot of kids who were sophomores who were out there playing plays for us and kind of holding the line for us so our older kids, our starters, could get a rest.
All right. Well, of course, Glynn Academy won 40-20 over Wayne County this past week, but next week's the big one against Brunswick. We'll be right back to talk about that with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
Relax. Misty's Element Massage specializes in helping you do just that. Located at 138 Village Market on St. Simons Island, Misty's Element Massage offers deep tissue massages, therapeutic massages, scrubs, creams, body wraps, and much more. The perfect gift for that special someone, not to mention sports massages for that aching muscle. Schedule your appointment today at 912-224-0198 or on the web at mistyselement.com.
Bruce Kennedy Tire is your hometown destination for tires. Michelin, Goodyear, and all the brands you trust. But don't let the name fool you. Bruce Kennedy Tire, located at 2928 Norwich Street, does more than just tires. Brakes, alignments, repair work, and more than I can mention. Bruce Kennedy is locally owned and operated, so you get the best service in Glynn County. So give Bruce a call at 912-264-6578. Bruce Kennedy Tire, a name you can trust. Get affordable health care when you need it. At Apple Care Immediate Care, our team of compassionate healthcare providers is dedicated to treating each patient with the highest standard in healthcare. Located at 1111 Glencoe Parkway, Apple Care is open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Apple Care welcomes all walk-ins from pediatric to adult ages and accepts most insurance plans. Visit us at applecaredoctors.com and like us on Facebook.
Hello, Glynn Academy Red Terror fans. It's an exciting time of the year when football season starts. It's also an exciting time of the year if you are buying a home and need a great mortgage team on your side. The smart folks at Somerset Mortgage will help you lock in the best rates and closing costs, but more importantly, they have the patience and expertise you need to get you to the closing table. Call Somerset to find out more. 638-2020, conveniently located next to Outback on St. Simons. Somerset, 638-2020.
It's time to get together with friends and family to enjoy great games, great food, and a great atmosphere at Loco's on St. Simons Island. Loco's has something for everyone with their classic sandwiches, fresh salads, and specialty burgers. And Loco's award-winning wings, from traditional boneless or slow roasted, means it's time to get your wings on. With football season starting, don't forget to catch the game at Loco's too. Be sure to like Loco's on Facebook to keep up with the latest. Have your friends meet you at the Moose.
Welcome back to the Glynn Academy Red Terrors Coaches Show with head coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Kevin Price on location at Loco's Grill and Pub on St. Simons. This segment brought to you by Misty's Element Massage, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Apple Care Immediate Care, and Somerset Mortgage. On hand with us tonight doing a good job is our Glynn Academy cheerleaders, and they want to do a crowd cheer right now. So go ahead, ladies.
When we say G-A, you say Terrors. G-A. Terrors. G-A. Terrors. When we say beat those, you say Pirates. Beat those. Pirates. Beat those. Pirates. When we say number, you say one. Number. One. Number. One. G-A. Terrors. Beat those Pirates. Number one.
All right, a good job by the Glynn Academy cheerleaders. Of course, they will be out this Friday night in force cheering on the Red Terrors as they take on the Brunswick High Pirates. And, of course, we appreciate their participation here tonight as well, along with this great crowd that we have here tonight here at Loco's. And, Coach, another big one. No time to pat yourselves on the back, really, with Brunswick High right around the corner. Obviously, I know you're new to town and new to this rivalry, so this will be the first time you experience it live and in person. But what have you gathered about this rivalry in the short time that you've been here?
Well, the first thing that happened to me when I signed my contract is somebody came up to me and told me, you better beat Brunswick. It literally came from that. I was 12 seconds after I signed the contract. That was the first thing that was said to me. You better beat Brunswick. So I know it's a big deal, and I'm looking forward to it. I love to play in games or coaching games when something's on the line. I mean, if you're a competitor, you want to win something and have a chance to go out and play your neighborhood rival. And Coach Floyd, I've gotten to know him. He's a great coach. He does a great job with this program. I really like him, and I support those guys in 9 times a year, except when they play us. I hope he goes 9-1 and finishes second in the region to us. But it's obviously a big deal, and I know people here are so passionate. I can't tell you how many people I've met who are married and their wives are Brunswick High graduates and they're GA graduates, and they've got personal side bets. Who's going to cut the grass for the next 12 months or something like that? So it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's always fun with little subplots like that. But of course, the game is for the city championship. But this year, with both Glynn and Brunswick being back in the region, it's also a region game. So that just takes everything up just another notch as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, whoever wins this game is a leg up for the playoffs. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you look at the region, there's so many tough teams in there. Brunswick is, coming in. Brunswick was picked to have one of those 4 spots. So it's a big game for us. It's a big game for them, and whoever wins that game has got a leg up in regards to the playoffs. It just beyond just winning the city championship. So I want to win it for a variety of reasons, mostly because it's the next game on the schedule.
And, of course, they're coming off a big win over McIntosh County Academy last week in their season opener over in Darien. I'm sure you have already watched film on that game, but just give us your overall thoughts and impressions of the Pirates.
They've got tremendous big play potential. They've got speed everywhere at their skill positions. We're going to have to do a great job of what we talked about earlier, fit and finishing and tackling. Because they've got a lot of kids that if you miss a tackle can take it to the house. I think if you look at them, they're led by a real young quarterback, but he's very impressive on tape. He's got great poise and distributes the ball like he's supposed to. Kind of envious that kid's over there playing for them really and truly, because he's really a talented kid, and I've been impressed with him in the 2 games I've watched. They have a massive offensive line, and the field will tilt in their direction when they come out there. So it's a good group of kids. I mean, you look at them, they play hard. I think when you watch tape, if you talk to Coach Floyd, they probably had a lot of the same issues that we had in special teams and tackling and things like that. And that's kind of par for the course for week 1. So I really think whoever comes out and can correct those issues this week's going to have a chance to win the game.
This is the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with Coach Rocky Hidalgo on the Bishop Media Sports Network. And Coach, they obviously run the spread. Coach Floyd brought that here with him when he came to coach at Brunswick, and I guess just to ask you about that, are there some similarities and differences in between what they do and what you guys do, and does it at all make it a little bit easier to prepare for them because maybe your kids are familiar with some of the lingo because that's what you do yourself? Well,
I think if you watch them on tape, I think they're probably, just because they've been doing it longer, they're a little ahead of us offensively. Just from a knowledge and repetition standpoint. They've got kids who've been playing in that offense for 2 or 3 years. But some of the things are very similar. If you watch them on tape, they're trying to get the ball out on the edge, on the perimeter to their athletes in space so they can make big plays. They're running the inside zone, the outside zone with their tailback. They're using their quarterback to kind of read a defender here or there and try to get an additional man against the run. So it's very similar. They do some different things than we do. I think their plays are a little different than us. I think if you watch them, they'll do some power read stuff very similar to what Auburn does, which is something we haven't done as of yet. They like to throw the ball down the field. They like to get out and throw the fade and the seam routes. They've got some guys who can really go get it, and they'll throw the ball down and let them go take it to the house.
And just flip sides of the football to their defense, I think they have a new defense coordinator this year. So what are they trying to do on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, they're a 4-2-5, or they've got 5 defensive backs in there. They're very impressive in the back 7. Their secondary. I mean, they've got some guys who can really cover some space at safety. Both of those guys. I saw some video, watching some film of them today, do some things that I kind of raised my eyebrows how much space they can cover. They run really well. I think their defensive line is easily the best we've seen this year. They've got a couple of kids at linebacker that really get downhill and play the run really well. So it's going to be a tough matchup for us. We're going to have to make sure that we show up to play and do a great job executing.
And, Coach, I know you probably are spending most of your time on Brunswick, and that's certainly understandable, but I did just want to ask you, there were several games in the area last night. Camden County for one, and then Coffee playing up in Statesboro along with Statesboro. Even though they played different opponents, did y'all happen to get out and go event scout any of those games, or right now are you pretty much just focused on week 2?
Nah, I'll be honest with you. My Saturdays, those are the day I work. Sundays, Saturday's the day I spend with my family. I generally get up early, watch some tape. I'll spend the day with them, and after I put them to bed, I watch video till kind of late at night. So I spent the day with them, kind of hung out with them a little bit, and got a chance to watch some of the Corky Kell games on television, and then just kind of watched our film and got ready for Brunswick. So, we'll get the tapes on those guys, Coffee and Camden County, and we'll worry about them when we get to them. But right now, we've got our hands full.
All right, Coach. Well, again, congratulations in week number 1, and go coach them up this week and get them ready for the Brunswick game this Friday night.
Thank you.
And thanks to everyone for joining us here at Locos for the Glynn Academy Coaches Show with Rocky Hidalgo on the Dish Media Sports Network. Come out to Locos Grill and Pub on St. Simons and join us every Sunday night at 6:30 for the Coaches Show. I'm Kevin Price signing off. Thanks, everyone.
Now we got